That wraps up our Sunday survey discussion. Now we're going to jump into our Q&A with Mark from FLEX.MARKS.THE.SPOT. So, Mark, let's go ahead and get started. How long have you had a home gym, and what was the reason that you started one?
So my home gym started back in 2018. That's when I was really into CrossFit, and I got started with uh, an old Airdyne just because I wanted to get better at CrossFit, like on my own time. And eventually, that led to an Echo bike, and then from there, I live in Colorado, so I found out Rep Fitness was local, and I went to their showroom, found a bunch of returned equipment, and they had, like, I think it's the PR 1100 that they had a shipment that was like kind of all rusted on the inside. So I got a power rack, bar, and a full set of bumper plates for like, it was like 300 pounds of bumper plates for like $500. So it was like
Nice.
it was
Wow.
insane. So I was just like, hey, why not? So that was technically the start of my home gym back in 2018, but I honestly like didn't really like I wasn't consistent with it. I was more in like the CrossFit gym on a daily basis. This was more like when I didn't have time to train, like, or if I the weather kind of didn't let me go to the gym. So that's when it originally started. But like most other people, once the world was flipped upside down in 2019, I was really glad that I had that, and then from there it just kind of snowballed and escalated to what it is now.
It seems like you started putting out content right after COVID. Would that be the case?
So yeah, I mean, I had my Instagram account for a while, and it was just like a training log. So I guess
Gotcha.
that's technically when it started, like before. But when I really started putting stuff out was maybe July of 2021, actually, and that was on
Okay.
yeah, that was on TikTok. Um, I was working remote temporarily, and they were making us go back to the office, and I was like, okay, I've seen some crazy or some stuff that went crazy viral. So I just kind of started making stuff, and I was like, you know what? Maybe this will be my ticket to not having to go back in the office. And it was just more because I hated the commute, and I was like, I'm not going back. And I mean, I ended up going back to the office and still making content just because.
So you started with that PR 1100, which I have to say is a beautiful squat rack.
Mhm.
It's
Oh
We
really
yeah,
cool.
agree. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. I actually the only reason I got rid of it was because I had a posting on Marketplace with some plates and a barbell that I was selling, and some guy offered to buy my 1100 like along with it, and he was the one who made an offer that I was really surprised he made. So I had to let it go, and yeah, that's the main reason I upgraded past that.
I was gonna say I'm looking behind you. It doesn't look like a bad mistake. If you're not watching this on video, he's got the clear coat PR 4000. What does your full home gym look like today?
Today, so yeah, I have the PR 4000 behind me, which is my main rack, and I actually also behind the camera have a PR 5000 as my temporary secondary rack. It's eventually going to be my main rack. I ordered the Aries, and I got that for the 5000. So I was originally planning on selling the 4000, but I'm a little emotionally attached at this point, so I might still roll with two racks after that. But yeah, so two power racks, bunch of barbells, specialty bars, bumper plates, steel plates. I do still occasionally Olympic lift also, so have to have that variety. And I love the sound of metal plates clanking together. So there's that. Adjustable dumbbells, a bunch of cardio equipment, and a reverse hyper and GHD. So that's pretty much the general gist, along with a few benches scattered around.
Yeah. Your home gym's loaded. Have you made any mistake purchases, or is there anything that you've changed your mind about since starting a? It's a basement gym, right?
Yeah, it's a basement gym, and I mean, it was originally a garage gym, but I have a lot more room in the basement, so that's why I moved down here. But the thing that I probably have changed my mind on is that if I'm being honest with myself, I'm not really saving money anymore at this point. But On a more, I guess, serious note, I would say buy once, cry once. It's a little overrated in my mind, and it only applies to a couple of items, in my opinion. I think maybe a bench and a bar are the only two things you really need to not cheap out on early on, but uh, everything else, I think it's fine if you upgrade it over time. I mean, um, I know I kind of gave a quick 101 history on my home gym evolution, but there was so much like equipment in between that I bought and sold off marketplace, and eventually upgraded to what I have now. And I mean, a lot of that financed a lot of this as well. So I definitely would not have gone with the buy once, cry once early on.
I
I mean,
like that.
no, I'm with you, because if I went with the buy once, cry once, it would have taken a long time for me to build out a home gym. So, but I mean, like you said, there's a few things that you should just get up front, like a bench and a barbell.
Mhm.
But definitely like going with the PR 1100 and then using that as long as you can until you can upgrade. I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah, totally agree. We learned from your AMRAP that you enjoy the squat. So we're going to ask you about two very popular squat bars. And I think you already kind of answered that, but maybe you can go a little bit more in depth.
Yeah,
Mars bar or transformer bar? You said Mars bar.
yeah.
Do you have both? Are you using them consistently? When would you pick the transformer bar over the Mars bar?
Yeah, so I do have both, and I personally prefer the Mars bar, uh, and that's because I'm a low bar squatter with a straight bar, and the Mars bar is like that takes out pretty much every other limiting factor that you would have with the straight bar when doing a low bar squat. So you don't have to balance it whatsoever. It completely balances itself. It hugs your body, and all you have to worry about is just the sheer force of moving as much weight as you can without having to worry about like most anything else failing on you. Like so, like when you're low bar back squatting, a lot of people have mobility issues, like getting down that far with their arms. And I mean, I've seen some pretty gnarly videos where people are low bar squatting insane weight and they kind of snap their arms too. So I mean, that's the reason I prefer the Mars bar. Um, with that being said, I would probably say the Transformer bar is probably the better choice for someone who's wanting to pick one of the two, just because it is a little bit more versatile. It does have all the different settings, and um, it's really good at front squats, safety, SSB squats, and decent at high bar back squats. The only thing it doesn't do well, funny enough, is low bar back squatting, which is what I prefer. But if you're not specifically trying to work your low bar without all the extra limiting factors, I would say the Mars or the Transformer is probably best for someone who's considering the two. But even then, I would, just because of how expensive they are, I would still probably say just a normal safety squat bar is still probably the better choice after having used these and just normal SSBs.
Well, speaking of specialty squat bars, it appears that you have both of the Titan options. So the V2 and then also the new one that's made in America. Have you been able to spot any differences yet?
The biggest differences are in the sleeves and the handles. Otherwise, they're pretty much identical. I just used the Titan series, like the one made with American steel today for the first time actually, and
Hmm.
functionally it felt pretty much the same. And when talking about the differences in the handles and the sleeves, I feel like that's going to be more of a preference thing when you're looking at the handles and sleeves. If I had to guess, they probably did that just because it kind of saves on shipping a little bit, because I think it comes in a smaller box because the sleeves come disassembled. So that's actually how they ship the Mars bar as well. And I'm 99.9% sure the new Titan bar is using the exact same sleeves as the Mars bar. They just have different end caps. So I think Titan being a distributor, there of the Mars bar. I think there was some sort of a collaboration there with suppliers or
Yeah.
something. But I mean, uh, to go back to the Titan SSBs, honestly, I think the V2 is a little better in my opinion, just because I think the price is going to it's still going to be much
Hmm.
better once they come out with the final price um, on the one made with American steel. Because I mean, I'd imagine they'd want to price it high enough to not cannibalize the V2 sales, and even then, like, it's not really functionally different. So just my 2 cents.
Yeah, that makes sense. It'll be interesting to see how much the price goes up and if they do another round at this sale price.
So yeah, I just put out a video comparing the V2 and the Titan series safety squat bars on my YouTube, which I'm trying to get off the ground. So if anyone's interested, you can check that out.
For sure.
Definitely. What about best and worst home gym purchases?
So I would say best and worst are both power racks. So the best one is the PR 4000. It's been everything I thought it would be and more, and then um, with all the future attachments reps coming out with, that's only going to get better. Granted, it's not going to be on my 4000 anymore, so my answer will probably switch to the 5000.
Right.
But yeah, that's my best purchase. My worst purchase was a like with those Marcy all-in-one power
Mm.
racks that they have. So I found one on Marketplace. It was an insane price, but it was like one of those that had like the Smith machine and the like the functional trainer like built in. And this, I think this was prior to the Aries being announced. So I was like, hey, like I could have this as a secondary squat rack, because I do have sometimes 2 to 3 people working out with me at one time. So it could be great for that. Plus I get the added versatility of the cables. But that was an absolute pain to take. So the guy who sold it was moving, so he was busy packing up the rest of his house and was like, "Hey, yeah, this was a great price because you have to disassemble it and move it." And yeah,
Uh,
that was a nightmare. That took me
uh,
way too long, and then I was trying to reassemble it in my garage, and that was even more rage-inducing. I ended up just selling it and not even putting it together. And luckily, I was able to get rid of that pretty quickly, but it was the worst purchase that I never used just because of the logistics involved.
did you have to disassemble at their
Yeah.
house? And how long did that take you?
Um. So it. So I was doing it by myself, and it was one of those things. So I think he was selling it for like $300. So it was insane, and this is the one that like retails for like 1,500. So
Uh-huh.
I like messaged him like right then and there. So I only had the tools that I had in my truck, and the wrenches I had weren't big enough. So I only had like one adjustable wrench that I was using to do this whole thing. And he lived far enough away where it didn't make more sense to go back home. So it was
Uh-huh.
a lot longer than it should have been. So I think it was about 4 hours to disassemble it and move it by myself and load it up. And the guy had already packed up all his tools and everything. So yeah, it was not fun.
Yeah, that is a pain.
Did you end up eating any money when you resold it?
No, actually, that was a good thing. So I at least came out on top, but with the amount of rage that I had with that, and
There you
the
go.
time spent, I would say if I put a dollar value on that, I probably broke even.
Okay.
Gotcha. You have a really solid cardio collection down in the basement. What would you say your go-to is?
It's probably a piece that I don't even have in the basement. It's in my office. So I mentioned earlier that I ended up going back to a workplace, but I'm fully remote now. So in my home office, I have a Concept 2 bike erg, and that's the one piece that I tend to gravitate towards, just because it's super versatile. I like that I can just, like, when I don't want to do cardio, I can just hop on and just do some easy steady state, and while I'm catching up on my emails in the morning, I can just pedal away doing that mindlessly. On the other side of the coin, there, I do also have a Peloton subscription, so I guess that kind of counts as a fitness app also. So I guess maybe I'm going back to the questions. I think I'm at two. I do Peloton classes on there also, and those are really enjoyable. And like when you go, they can get pretty intense.
You do the Peloton on the bike erg?
Yeah. So you can get the app on your phone, and
Yeah, I
there
did.
obviously you don't have the same like resistance level that the
Right.
instructors do, but you can kind of figure it out. Figure out what the conversions are, but it takes a lot of the guesswork out of the cardio when you just want to mix it up.
Definitely. You like the rep clear coat. Did you go clear coat on the PR 5000?
Yeah, I did. I did.
Nice.
I wasn't going to initially, but I kind of like I was looking at my 4,000 and I was like I think I'd rather cry or buy once cry once here instead of wanting to
Yeah.
upgrade to the
Yeah.
5,000 later on. Or
What about the
upgrade
bench? Did you
later on.
buy that too early?
No, yeah, that I got that a while ago. That was actually
Yeah.
a marketplace find that
Oh,
I had.
nice.
So I had the 3,000 before that, and it was a pretty good deal on the 5,200. So checked it out, and yep, now it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. And for me, the clear coat upcharge is worth it too. So, and then the last question we have here is just what's a product you're eyeing, but you just haven't pulled the trigger on yet?
Um, a product that I've been really wanting for a long time is a belt squat, like a dedicated belt squat, but there haven't really been any like decent, like more compact units out there, and I do not want to bring a Rogue Rhino down to the basement here. So, and even then, I don't really have a spot for it. So that's the main reason I haven't pulled the trigger. But hopefully someday.
Man, that Rogue Rhino is sick. It's a monster, though. It's a rhino, if you will.
Literally.
Oh, Mark, we've enjoyed the conversation. Why don't you give them your plugs? Where can people find you?
Yeah, so people can find me on uh, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, all at FLEX.MARKS.THE.SPOT or some other variation of that. If you just type in any search box, it should come up. So
Perfect. That's going to do it for us. Did you like tonight's episode? Be sure to keep your eye out for new episode releases wherever you listen to podcasts. Stay involved on our social media sites by following Garage Gym Experiment and taking part in our Sunday surveys on Instagram so that you can be a part of the conversation. Like, follow, subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and get involved in our website for all your home gym content needs. Jake, do you have anything else left for the listeners?
No.
That's going to do it for us, guys. Thanks, Mark. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.